Happy New Year and welcome to the first edition of Sports World in 2026. My name is still James Ohenba McKeown. It's that time of the year I said I just delve deep into sporting issues in Ghana and around the world. The AFCON 2025 is done, and as I always say, now the boys separated from the men. Morocco, Algeria, Cameroon, Mali, Senegal, Nigeria, they have qualified for the quarterfinals of the AFCON 2025. We are bringing you good conversations on Sports World today. We'll be joined by Chris Katos, who is a Nigerian sports journalist and international one for that matter. I said Nigerian camp was currently ongoing. The players currently training ahead of their game upcoming in the weekend. What's happening? I spoke to Lawrence Nkede, who will give us more updates. Whether he's surprised whether Cameroon have qualified to the quarterfinals of the African Cup of Nations. Then we head to South Africa, where Ben Rikoso will join us to talk about the feeling of South Africans concerning the elimination from the AFCON 2025. Then we talk about which countries do we think that will qualify for the semi-finals and obviously the final. Then we come home, Ghana focus. What's happening in our leagues? A lot of violent activities happening over the weekend. Takwa TNA Park, at Kukrantumi Park Academy, and also Port City Academy. A lot of violence happening over the weekend. What's happening to our league? It was just a year ago that Samuel Francis died. Paul may so rest in peace. Things have not changed. How does that affect our list? Do corporate society want to see these things become exposed our list? So we'll be joined via Zoom by Dr. Kusi, who will help us dissect more into the issues. But before we even end the show, we bring you back to your boss, where we bring you all you need to do. Just money. Now, Ofori Sottie will be joining me very soon. Remember, the show is an interactive one, so you can share in your comments when we display the message lines on your screens and also when we open the phone lines. We go for a breather. When we come back, Sottie joins me for Talking Points. Stay tuned.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
You're still watching Sports World on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohenba. If you just joined anything, we are just about to kickstart with business. Now here with me, Eugene, Ofori, Sottie, the usual suspect here. Eugene, how are you doing? Okay. How's your 2026 going?
Back to work. It just struck me that this is the first show.
Yeah.
It looked like I've been at work.
Yeah, when I said it,
you
were like confused.
I've been at work for a long time. 3 days at work looks like I've been working for a month.
That means you've been putting in the work.
Energies must match energy. So
all right. But before we go to the talking points, as I said earlier on, AFCON 2025 is in the quarter-final stages. So if you can have the road to the final on our screens, which teams have already qualified, there we have it. Mali will be playing against Senegal. I think for me, this is my match of this particular stage. I think that I can't predict who will qualify to the next round. But then Egypt will also meet in another game in the quarterfinals, and then Algeria will meet the Super Eagles. So two countries meeting. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will be playing against Algeria. That's a tasty match also. Then the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon will play against the Atlas Lions of Morocco. So this is it for you. Which 2 teams or which 4 teams are you picking to qualify to the next round of the competition? To help us have more perspective, we have been joined on Zoom by some important guests that will help us discuss the issue. I'll leave this for Eugene for
If you're just joining us, so welcome to Talking on the show. I'm Eugene Ofori. So the Talking Point is a segment where we usually focus on issues of concern to African football. And usually because it's about the African Cup of Nations, we would turn our focus for the next few weeks on the AFCON. Well, for the first show of the year for Talking Point, we focus on the AFCON quarterfinal stages. We'll be speaking to one representative of the country which is still at the AFCON. Chris Katos will be talking to us about the Nigerian perspective, his thoughts on the performance of the Super Eagles and the way forward. Usually Nigeria is a team that is not usually, that comes a lot of controversies, but in the last few months, from the latter part of last year until now, they've worked a lot of controversy. We'll speak about that. And then also we head to South Africa. They've been eliminated from the AFCON, and so we'll also speak to them on that. We've got Ben Rekotso, who is a producer and a presenter at SABC Sports. Hello. Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Good evening, guys. How you doing?
It's good to have a South African and a Nigerian on the show. On social media, when the South Africans were eliminated, I saw a lot of Nigerians jubilating. First off, before I come to you, Ben, let me go to Chris. Chris, were you one of those Nigerians celebrating the elimination of South Africa?
No. I wasn't celebrating. South Africa is our brothers. I know we have a lot of banters between South Africa, Ghanaians, but on the true sense, we love each other. And we just like to make it fun. It's spicy when you try to challenge your brothers to do better. You know what I mean? So that's what happened.
Interesting. Let me now go to Ben. Ben, let's get your initial thoughts. Your team, the Bafana of South Africa, they are out of the tournament. Your initial thoughts on the team?
I must tell you, my brother, thank you very much for inviting me, and good evening to all the guests. It is something that myself, analyst, I was expecting to see happening. I'm glad that South Africa are out of the AFCON in such a way that we should learn, my brother. We should learn that going there with this thing of saying we are the favorites, it didn't work for us. It is disappointing. From the first game, we realized that the team was in a way not ready for what happened. And I must say to you, we are mourning in South Africa as we speak today.
That's interesting. Well, in fact, you were at the AFCON, and if you are mourning, I don't know what Ghanaians will say because we were not even present there. Well, let's head to contrasting emotions. Nigeria is still in the AFCON. Let's head to you, Chris. You said you were indifferent with the elimination of South Africa, but your team is still in the tournament. What do you make of the team's performance so far? They are one of the highest scoring teams in the AFCON so far. When you take a look at the goal scoring chart, Ademola Lookman is second on the list. Osimhen is also in that list. When it comes to the assist chart as well, Akko Adams is on that list. Samuel Chukwu is on that list. Calvin Bass is on that list, as well as Ademola Lookman himself leading that list. So a lot of Nigerian players and the state of affairs in terms of goal contributions for goals and assists. It seems it's all rosy for the Super Eagles. Is that the case?
Well, the performance has shown that the Super Eagles are taking this tournament very serious, and they're trying to win many games as much as possible. And you can tell the mentality of the team so far. The Nigerian team are definitely contenders to win this championship. You can tell the mentality of the players. You can see how hungry they are to want to score and want to win games. And a lot of controversy coming up between Osimhen and Lookman in the last game of where Nigeria beat Mozambique 4-0. It just showed the mentality of the boys, how much they want to win the game. That even with 4 goals, you still see players like Osimhen being mad, being angry because they want to keep on scoring goals. So I think the mentality of the team is good. Eric Chow has improved so much as a coach. His changes has been instrumental in the results of the game so far. It's not just making random changes, but so far has been making important changes that has actually influenced the outcome of the game. So I think Nigeria so far are doing good. You just spoke about Ademola Lookman, amazing player. He's already gearing already for the player of the tournament. He's contributed a total of 7 goals so far, scored 3 goals, and in assist, 4 goals. He has assisted over 4 goals. So he's been amazing so far. Notwithstanding the main man at the midfield for Nigeria, Alex Iwobi. He's been outstanding too. So the Nigerian team all around, I think they're top contenders to win this Nations Cup this year.
Well, you dovetailed right into that conversation about Abdimina Lukman, Victor Osimhen's fracas or on-field clash during the game. And obviously after the game, Victor Osimhen's actions leaving the pitch before the group and his behavior, and subsequently media reports indicating that he seems to have suggested that he's leaving the team. Can you give us any updates on that situation and whether there's any truth to the fact that Osimhen actually wanted to leave camp?
No, I just think it goes back to the fact that when players are very passionate, like Osimhen is a very passionate person, so passion leads people to act in different ways. And truth of the matter is that Osimhen is the main man of the team. When the Nigerian team doesn't perform or lose games, there's more pressure on Osimhen because everyone looks to him as a leader and as a player. So no doubt did he overextend himself in terms of his character. Yes, he did. But I think it's all passion and pure love. The players have gone over it already. They're ready to go to the next round.
Well, away from the Osimhen-Lukman situation, they are now hearing the issue of unpaid bonuses again. We spoke about that with you the last time during the World Cup playoffs latter part of last year. That's its ugly head again, and we are hearing the players are refusing to train today and tomorrow until their bonuses are paid them. Have you heard that issue, and is there any truth to that?
Yeah, it's the truth. It's what's been going on. It's just sad that it's sad that we'll still be going through this kind of situation at this time, knowing how it affected our qualifying series to the World Cup. Now the team is now playing well as a team, playing together, getting results, and also trying to win the Nations Cup. This is the last thing we really want to hear to affect the players' concentration. They want to be focused on the game, not focused on whether being paid or not being paid. So I think the NFF is disappointing that they're going through this all over again. They ought to have learned from their mistakes, but it's obvious they haven't learned anything, and we're going through the same brouhaha all over again. So I hope it's resolved on time. I know it will be resolved on time, definitely, because the spirit of the momentum of the team right now is super high. Nigerians are excited. They know Nigeria is ready to move on and possible win the Nations Cup. So I know definitely something will be done. It's just sad that he had to get at this stage in the first place.
Well, Chris, kindly stay with us as we still speak to Ben. Ben, if you are still with us, let's look at South Africa. You've been eliminated from the AFCON, but you've got the World Cup coming up next year. Before the World Cup, let's look at the head coach, Hugo Bruce. During the AFCON, he made certain comments about the vibe, he claimed, the vibe of the AFCON, which he said wasn't present at Morocco as compared to what he witnessed in the Ivory Coast. It seemed as though those comments were misconstrued, and he got a lot of flack and stick from the North African countries and some of the ambassadors of CAF. And it brought undue pressure on the Bafana team. What is the general reaction or sentiments of the South African people towards Hugo Bruce, especially because before the AFCON as well, he made certain comments about certain players. It looked a little bit harsh.
I think for me, the coach is under pressure, under tremendous pressure as we speak at the moment. He's a little bit harsh on the fact that we wanted Tembiko Silosh to be playing in this World Cup as our number 10, and also Mshishi, who's our number 10. He didn't select those two players. The coach is very arrogant. Some people might see him as very arrogant because he believes in his own strategy. There are certain players that he didn't select. He selected certain players. But I think for me, as we speak now, the players that went to the AFCON that we are eliminated now, people are still worried about the coach's attitude, the way he speaks to the media, and the fact that he avoids answering certain questions. And also, when he was in Morocco, he said there's no vibe. He doesn't see any vibe. That was so disrespectful to Moroccans and as the host nation. But for me, I don't know, my brother. I don't know if this coach will take us to the World Cup in Mexico, America, and Canada. I am worried. The pressure is so much that the coach might see himself I don't know, they won't fire him, but the pressure is so much. We are disappointed as South Africans, and they are set in certain quarters. There are people who are calling for his head. There are people who are saying he doesn't care anymore. You could see even when we were playing against Zimbabwe, we were just defensive. The last game against Cameroon, the less said about that, the better. We didn't get off the bus. It looks like we're still in the plane. We're jet-lagged. He changed against Cameroon, he changed the whole team. We're supposed to play 4 at the back, 4-1-4. The other time we're playing 3. I don't know, my brother. I don't know if this coach will remain with us until the World Cup. I'm worried about that.
Well, it's interesting your comments you make, because usually when there's an AFCON tournament before the World Cup, you realize that some coaches look like they will take the teams to the World Cup, but just after the AFCON tournaments, then they are sacked. We know, for example, Gabon is not going to the World Cup, but after the AFCON, they sacked their coach. Tunisia have qualified to the World Cup, but just after their exit from the round of 16, they've let Sami Trabelsi, their head coach, leave. And you are saying you're not too sure whether Hugo Bruce will continue. Well, time will tell, and whether those emotions and sentiments will reduce. But you've spoken to us about the sentiments of the general populace on the coach. What do the South Africans say about the performance of the players on the pitch itself?
Look, we South Africans, against Cameroon, my brother, you could see that we were not there. I think South Africa, the personnel, players played out of position, introducing new players into the game that they've never played. And if you look, we had 6 defenders. Really, we had 6 defenders, and when you check, our striker who's playing in England, we only have one guy who's playing in England. Unlike Nigerians, brother. Nigerians, they've got tons and tons of players playing everywhere. Everywhere you go in the world, there is a Nigerian. Everywhere you go, there is. Even here in South Africa, Nigerians is like, we are eliminated. They're celebrating. Yeah. Every time Nigeria, I don't know, Nigeria has become our hoodoo team, and I would be disappointed if they win this AFCON. I'll be very disappointed. I'm thinking that he might disagree with me, but I'm thinking that the AFCON might remain in the north. But guys, let me also touch on this. We are the only country in the south. Look around us, Botswana, Lesotho, Mozambique. Nobody is making any impact in the world of football except us. But you guys in the west are hectic. Ivory Coast. It's only the west against the north. And even in the World Cup, it's going to be the north against the west. And guys, I must accept, you guys in the west have got some juju that we don't know where you're getting it. We need the peace. We need some juju, guys. We need some juju that come from the west. Nigeria, very good team. Ivory Coast, Cameroon. Look, this is going to be interesting. As for South Africa, we are mourning, and I must say, the coach is talking about European players. Where is he going to get European players? We are using local players. We don't export like Nigeria and Ghana, guys. We are still growing. I think once that change, South Africa will play better. But at the moment, with locally based players, we are in trouble. I don't see ourselves even beating anyone in the World Cup in that Group A.
That seems to be a very damning verdict on your Bafana team. But let's look at the positives. I must say, for one, that Lau Foster impressed me a lot. In previous tournaments, he didn't show up, or he wasn't up to the task. But for the first time, I could say I was very much impressed with what I saw from Lau Foster. Apart from the goals he scored, he seemed to be fighting for every ball, and sometimes overdoing it and having emotional outbursts with the referees and others. What are the positives do you take from this AFCON tournament, apart from a player like Lau Foster?
Look, I think if we're taking it as a loss, it will be bad for us. But we are looking at it as a learning curve. We have learned something. The positive is that you can see that there are certain players that were left on the bench at the beginning of the World Cup. We need to use. We can't. We are too small. We're not like Westerners. We're not like you guys. You guys are big and huge. But we know that the only thing that we can do is tiki-taka. We can only dribble. We didn't implement that because we came there with that European mentality of kicking and hope down the line all the time. But if we play according to our strength and dribble, look at Mali. Mali have got big guys. They can't turn. There was one coach in South Africa who said an elephant can't turn. if we can play according to our strength, dribble, shibobo, and at the back of it, all the games there's no clean sheet. If we can play according to our strength, we can build the team. I think 6 months is too long, my brother. And you know what? We can turn things around. As you say, guys, in Twi, only veranda. If you don't have a veranda, don't keep a monkey.
Ben, kindly hold on for us while we engage Chris. Chris, I think you've been on. You heard Ben go on and on, but most important thing was that he says Nigerians are celebrating the elimination of South Africa within South Africa itself. And he says he doesn't wish that Nigeria will get the trophy. I'm sure because of the trophies he would receive in his own country of South Africa. What do you make of your chances heading to this next game where you take on Algeria, particularly because your team, the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Algeria, are the only teams to have won all their group stage games, get all 9 points each, and you look to be well in favor of getting a solid grounds into the next stage of the competition. What do you make of your team's chances?
Well, it's going to be a very interesting encounter of Algeria, because having looked at how the Algerian teams qualified to the round of 16 and now the quarterfinals, you can tell that in the qualifying, in the round, Algeria did not consider only one goal against the 3-1 loss, the 3-1 victory to Equatorial Guinea, and that was a game that the goalkeeper Zidane's son did not play in that game. So all around, you can tell that they have very compact defense and they're very structured as a team, which might be difficult for the Nigerian team to break going forward because they don't concede goals. But on the other side, when you look at the Nigerian team, you see that there's a free flow of goal scoring from everywhere. Defenders, midfielders, attackers, the team seem to be gelling finally now, and they're scoring goals. So it's going to be a beautiful encounter, and it's definitely going to be a revenge. You know what happened the last AFCON 2019 when Real Mahrez caught a free kick that broke the Nigerian hearts in the AFCON. With that goal, Real Mahrez is still very much alive. It's going to be a sweet revenge if Nigeria can go ahead and beat Algeria, while Real Mahrez this time around cries at what the did to us the last time.
It'll be interesting to see when the Nigeria takes on Algeria in that game. But you spoke about the free-flowing attack of the Super Eagles and the fact that Algeria has a resolute defense. One fact you need to notice is the fact that the Super Eagles of Nigeria score at least 2 goals in almost every game. But the problem is that they conceded goals in all games except their last game they played against Mozambique. So Nigeria seems to have a very leaky defense. And Algeria, who have been high scoring, have players like Baghdad Bunija, Ibrahim Maza, Riyad Mahrez, Mohamed Amoura. Do you think your defense can withstand the pressure from the Algerians?
Well, I think the simple mathematics, the good thing about the Nigerian team is we score goals, because when it's better to score goals, it's better to attack than to defend. It makes sense what I mean by when you score more goals, you have better chance of winning the game. The Nigerian defense, no doubt, has not been prolific, but they have been okay. But the good thing is because we score a lot of goals, that kind of adds up. So if Nigeria can just keep on scoring goals, which might be difficult, I think Nigeria has a chance. But it's going to be a compact game, no doubt, because definitely Eric Child has seen that the Algerian team have a compact team. The defense is solid. Their goalkeeper, most importantly, is a very solid keeper. Is Lucas Zidane's son. He hasn't conceded any goal over 4 or 5 hours of AFCON, and he hasn't conceded a goal. So there's a lot of momentum going for the Algerian side, but there's also a lot of momentum going on the Nigerian side as well too. So I think it's going to be a game of tactics and experience. And if you want to look at both sides of the team now, I think the Nigerian team has a better advantage when it comes to experience, because the top experienced guys in the Algerian team are getting old. So the Nigerian guys are younger, they're sharper, they have the edge. But is it going to be easy? No, it's not. But I think Nigeria can beat Algeria coming up in the next game.
Quickly, could you give me your prediction for the Nigeria-Algeria game?
It's going to be a high scoring game. I predict 3 goals to Nigeria, 2 goals to Algeria, because I know, like Real Mahrez is very dangerous when it comes to set pieces. Algerians are definitely going to get free kicks. So definitely Mahrez can have opportunity to definitely swing one of his left foot in and maybe score a goal. But I think Nigeria is going to win the day.
Let me go to Ben. Ben, if you are still on, Mali take on Senegal. Your predictions for that game quickly.
Senegal will win that game, and Algeria will win in penalty shootout.
And then Egypt are taking on the Ivory Coast.
Look, I don't like the Northerners, but Egypt is going to be a tough cookie. Look, this one I'll give you to Egypt. I think in the finals we're going to see the teams. Senegal will be in the final. I'll put my neck on the block to say Senegal will be in the finals. It's either it will be nice to see Nigeria, Senegal in the final, but the Northerners are very strong in this case. But Senegal will pull it through to the finals.
Well, thank you.
Good luck, Chris, and I wish you well. Nibolo Tidawa.
So, well, thank you very much, Chris and Ben. May I say Ben and Chris, thank you very much for your time. Ben is a presenter, and I mean Sharon. So Ben is a presenter and producer with SABC Sport, and Chris Katos is an international sports journalist representing the Nigerian perspective. Well, thank you very much, Ben. Your grass cutter waiting for you next year at the World Cup. This year later on at the World Cup.
I'll be cheering for you though. I'll be cheering for you at the World Cup.
Sure.
One love. I'll be cheering for you.
All the best,
all love there. Thank you very much. That's the beauty of African unity. Ghana is not the AFCON, but we are showing love to Nigeria and South Africa. South Africa have been eliminated from the AFCON, and then at the World Cup, Nigeria also show love to Ghana as well. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your insightful conversations on the African Cup of Nations, which is currently ongoing in Morocco, which is at the quarterfinal stage. Well, away from Nigeria and South Africa, let's head to Cameroon. The indomitable Lions of Cameroon on Friday night will take on the Atlas Lions of Morocco, who are the host nations. We spoke to an international Cameroonian sports journalist and a sports consultant for CRTV Sports in Cameroon, is Lawrence Nkede. We spoke to him about the performance of the indomitable Lions and his thoughts on what the task ahead against Morocco is. Let's take a listen to that interview. We'll continue the conversation on the AFCON. This time we'll place our focus on the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Before the tournament, their AFCON campaign was quite doubtful. A lot of fans didn't have hope in that team, but head coach David Pago and the FECAFOOT president Samuel Eto'o have sort of shamed their doubters by showing us very impressive performances. They've managed to progress past the group stage, and they are now in the quarterfinals. They faced host nation Morocco on Friday. For a lot of conversations and more perspective, we've been joined by Lawrence Nkede, who is a sports journalist and a consultant with CRTV Sports in Cameroon. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
It's a pleasure being on set with you.
Okay. Initially, when we last spoke to you, it made it known to us that you were not very sure of the expectations of this Cameroonian team. You were not even sure if they'll progress from the group stage. Now they've progressed from the group stage. They managed to make it past the round of 16, and they will now face host nation Morocco on Friday. What do you make of the performance of the team so far in the tournament?
Well, I think it's a team that finally found itself. Coach David Pago had just 7 days to build up a team ahead of the AFCON. We know composed of young players. He tried to create his own style of play that has been successful for the youthful team so far. I believe the players have that fighting spirit. You know when you come in as an underdog, when you come in as a player that has not been regularly fielded as a starter and you are given the opportunity. Some of these players are even coming into the team for the first time, but they succeeded in creating a blend from single players to forming a solid team. Moving out of the group stage was the first objective, and I think from the first game, the energy, the pulled out, the game strategy, which is new for a Cameroonian team playing in a 3-5-2 formation. We generally don't use that type of playing formation, but with the youthful players he has, they have the energy to occupy the midfield. And talking to the players individually and collectively, I think Coach David Pago has succeeded in doing something great to that team. And due to the fact that Equally, the president of Cameroon's FA, Samuel Eto'o, had talked to the players and decided that he will no longer stand at the forefront and he will retreat behind and leave the team, live its life and have its own adventure. He will no longer intervene. He will no longer constitute a shadow and being present in the team. And I think it has equally been a wise decision from Eto'o to pull out a little bit away from the team and let the coach manage his players. And it's been a pleasant surprise to see how Cameroon has moved from the group stage right up to the quarterfinals we are expecting on Friday.
Well, before the AFCON began, a lot of people criticized the decision to sack head coach Mark Brees at the time, and they heavily criticized Eto'o's running of the Fecafoot and Cameroonian football in general. Do you think these results have vindicated Eto'o?
Well, I think Eto'o has learned from these critics, and he did the right thing. Let's not forget that the coach Eto'o put in place, that is David Pago, has been an assistant, one of the Cameroonian assistant coaches, who has been there from day one. So he knows the players, he knows who is who can do what, and bringing his own touch into that. He has greatly helped Eto'o wash his name on the media, because we were really moving into this competition in a chaotic state, and finally we are giving Eto'o the thumb up, as he has succeeded in cleaning up the mess in just a few days to the AFCON.
Well, you spoke about chaos. Usually with Cameroonian football, almost every tournament there's chaos before or during the tournament. For the first time in a long while, Cameroon is in a tournament, no chaos whatsoever. How is that resonating with the public in Cameroon? How are they taking that?
Well, I think the public is pleasantly surprised, because before the tournament, many are those who were very skeptical, many are those who felt not even concerned by the African Nations Cup, because many are those who were talking of a humiliation that we are going to carry at that level. And now it's football. People forget about the past, and suddenly everybody is already rejoicing owing to this performance. And sometimes it's not just about winning, it's about the when you win. We have been used to our winning teams are teams where you see players fight right up to the last minute. You see players giving it all, and that's just what the public wanted. And since these players have shown the public that they have that Lions fighting spirit, the Onanas, the Nganders, the Chachuas, the Abubakars have long been forgotten. It's rather unfortunate for these players that were sidelined, as nobody anymore is talking about them or their coach.
And is it very likely that this will be the end of the careers for people like Onana and Chachwa and possibly Anguissa?
Well, I think it will probably be the end of the careers of these players, because someone like Onana, who is already, I think, 28, 29, same for Anguissa. Abubakar, we know it's practically the end, because up front there is no World Cup for Cameroon. So for Cameroon to get back into competition, it's going to take a long while. And before we get there, most of these players would completely be out of action. But for someone like Anguissa, who had no problem with Samuel Eto'o, he was one of the natural captains. He got off the team because of an injury, but I doubt whether he will find a space back into the team, because Coach David Pago has already created a synergy around his players. He has already gotten his own captains, and these young players at the level of the midfield, they control the entire team, And it's going to be difficult for these old players to come back and join the team. It's going to be very difficult for them to come and integrate it.
Let's look at the team in particular. As you spoke, a lot of key players, Onana out, Anguissa is out, and Abubakar are out. But their exclusion meant it opened an opportunity for other players, and players like Atu Avom have taken the opportunity very well. Another player is Danny Namaso, and then Christiane Kofane taking up a huge role, and he's taking that challenge in his stride. He scored 2 goals so far. What do you make about what do you make of the performance of these new entrants who have walked into this team and have really taken their time, and they've taken the opportunity very well, taking into perspective the goalkeeper Davis Ipasi as well?
Well, I think that's the magic of football. You can be on the sidelines waiting for your turn, and once the opportunity is given to you, you seize it completely. I mean, some of the old guns who are still in the team have found themselves on the bench, and Coach David Pago's philosophy is that everything is done at a training session. He told the players that nobody has a land title in the team, so you have to fight for your position. You have to fight to become a starter. You have to merit it. There is no big name in his team, and everybody is at the same level. So I think some of these players really seize the opportunity. Kofane, for example, the center forward from Leverkusen, had never been caught up in the team. We saw that Eto'o went and brought him from Germany, and him coming into the team and integrating himself directly. These are players equally who have been playing in the junior category, who have played in the junior category, so they have already tasted the national team. So it looks like a revelation for some, but for others, it's more of a confirmation. Danny Namaso has been in the team, but he's had integration problems. You know, with binationals, it's not easy. So he took some time for him to get integrated, and he has been given full confidence because he was in the team, but has never been given a platform to express himself. Avom is a player from the local league who just went to Europe, I think, just about 2 years ago, has played at the level of with the local national team, had played in the junior categories, and now is confirming at the senior level. I think these players were just waiting for an opportunity to be given to them. You know, when the old boys were there, it was difficult even to speak. And Coach Mark Brice was focused on the old players, on the experienced players, and these youngsters were just there frustrated. And now they have been given the opportunity by Coach David Pago to express themselves. And I think they are doing it marvelously well, and it's going to be very, very difficult to put them on the bench.
Well, let's look forward to the game on Friday, where the Indomitable Lions faced host nation, the Atlas Lions of Morocco. So 2 Lions at it, the Atlas versus the Indomitable Lions. Cameroon has rather impressed a lot of people with its performances. Morocco, on the other hand, haven't really impressed a lot of teams. In fact, they had to scale through their last game with a slender 1-0 victory over Tanzania. What do you make of the chances of Cameroon heading to the game against host nation Morocco?
Well, I think sometimes history is in favor of Cameroon. The last time Morocco organized the AFCON in 1988, Cameroon beat Morocco at the semi-finals and lifted the trophy. And ever since Morocco, each time Morocco has faced Cameroon at the AFCON, it has always been a negative result for Morocco. And I believe this time around Morocco is under pressure. They have the pressure of winning the tournament. And I think officiating might be a big problem here because we saw it against Tanzania. From a personal point of view, I think Morocco was a little bit favored by the VAR. So those are one of the things Cameroon will have to look up to. The coach David Tao will have to work on the psychology of its players. But Morocco is very, very technical. They can pose a lot of problems to Team Cameroon, just like South Africa did in the first 20 minutes, because our players are still learning, are still in the learning process. And as the coach said it, we learn after every game and we progress like that. So that's how the players are gaining experience in the team, game after game. And I think against Morocco is going to be a tough one. Because the players are very fast, they are agile, they are technically very good. They play with the short passes, even though they had a setback and it was difficult for them against Tanzania. But this Moroccan side, psychologically, they start feeling the pressure from the fans, from the stakes of the game. Cameroon's solidity at the minimum so could show a difference in that game. So everything is possible, and Cameroon has been used to beating host nations. Generally, we don't have problems with host nations. I think in the history of African Nations Cup, several times have we beaten the host nations at various stages of the competition.
Well, I must say, sadly, Ghana also received that in 2008 at the Accra Sports Stadium when Indomitable Lions led by Samuel to actually beat Ghana. So I can say I've witnessed that as well. But just before we go, it's interesting the kind of formation that Coach David Pagu has undertaken so far. Usually in high-stake games, he goes to a 3-5-2, which he employed against Ivory Coast as well. But what's happening to Carl Young? Before the AFCON, he looked like he was the striker replacing Bisabu Bakar. But since David Pagu came, it looks like Pagu favors Christian Kofani over him. What's happening?
Well, I think Young has been hit psychologically. I mean, he has lost a little bit of confidence. The first game, he was the main striker, and later on, when Kofane came, because Kofane came a little bit late and was shot for the first game, but I believe Kofane was set up as the main striker, the main forward, central forward for Cameroon. The only reason he didn't play the first game was that he came in late into camp. He was the last player coming into camp when things had already begun. So that's the only reason. But he was foreseen as the main striker. So Kofane not being available for the first game, Young was just a substitute that came in as a starter. Although he scored the lone goal for Cameroon against Gabon, the coach was focused and bent on his center forward, who is Kofane. It's a player we have seen at the level of Cameroon evolving, and high hopes have been set on these players ever since he was in Cameroon. So he has been foreseen as the center forward. I think you have Yonjo too, who has just gone to France, and maybe the next AFCON we are going to have a central pair of Yonjo and Kofane up front. But Coach David Pago equally said that there is a possibility of the two attackers playing together, Kofane and Young. It now all depends upon the stakes of the game and how the games do unfold. I mean, we had that combination when we played Mozambique at the last game of the group stages, but we should understand that Kofane is the main striker for Cameroon, and Eta Young just comes in as a substitute. Unfortunately, in the last game, he didn't feature, and I think he has to work himself psychologically because he has lost a little bit of confidence, but he remains one of the assets of Team Cameroon.
Sure. I honestly, for me personally, I would hope to see the two players, Kofane and then Eta Young, lead the lines against host nation Morocco. Well, thank you very much, sir, and I hope that we'll meet next week, and by that time, Cameroon would have eliminated host nation Morocco, and then we could have more conversations about the quest for the Indomitable Lions to repeat the 2017 success. So that was the interview, quite a lengthy interview we had with Lawrence Nkede. Is a Cameroonian sports journalist and a sports consultant with CRTV Sport, which is a state broadcaster in Cameroon. Well, that's it for Talking Point. Remember that this show is brought to you and sponsored by Betway. Betway more. Remember that they've got the Bet Influencer where you've got to share your codes with your friends and fans and followers. And then when they win or lose, you get 4% of the wager. Well, we'll go for a short break. When we are back, Ghana Focus is up next.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Winning, easy. You know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Aye easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted groundnuts. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Make easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Sports World on ABC News Ghana. That was Talking Point that just went by. Eugene Ofori, Sottie have a nice conversation with international sports journalists. Now we are back home, and today we are talking about something very, very important, which is very crucial to the Ghana Premier League and obviously to our various local leagues, Division 1 and also the Women's League. Something happened over the weekend, and it looks like Ghana, we are not learning our lessons. The clubs are not learning. The GFA themselves are not learning. First of all, let's head to Midiema Takwa TNA Park. Something interesting happened. Abdoulaye Ghazali, who is the head coach for Accra Suffolk, was involved in, should I say, a fight or a tussle with a ball boy. He claimed that the ball boy was wasting time, so all he had to do was just pounce on the boy. Let's have a look at that particular video, then we come back. Sad scenes at the Takwa TNA Park. This is Abdoulaye Ghazali. This is the Ghana Premier League, our top tier league, and this is what's happening in the league. This is a coach who has been an assistant at Kumasi Asante Kotoko before. He's gone to Southampton Football Club in England to have an internship there, to learn a lot of things. He's been at Manchester City before to learn a lot of things. And this is what he comes back to do in the Ghana Premier League. This is very disheartening. We need to learn. Clubs, we need to learn. That was not only the incident that happened. When you go to the Division 1 league, there was a league game between Port City Football Club and True Democracy. And yes, I understand. These are two teams in Tema. Currently, they are the two teams in Tema that are doing very, very well when it comes to the Division 1 league. We understand your rivalry, but this is not how to go about things that you endanger fans, the lives of fans that come to the stadium to watch this beautiful game. Something happened in that particular game. I don't want to be the one to talk about this. Let's have a look at it. This is not a war scene or a conflict arena. This is a football game where supporters of the two clubs were engaged in some fight. We saw the broadcasters there not being able to do their work. We saw some policemen, some policewomen around. That game did not continue. It was abandoned. Let's move on to the next violent act that happened last weekend in the Division 1 League. Park Academy and Osgood Ofori club. The videos you're about to see, some officials of Osgood were, I think they got some injury in there because of what happened in that particular game. Yes, we know that the FA has banned, first of all, Abdullah Ghazali. They've banned Port City and also True Democracy from using their home venues, and they've also dished out some punishment to Park Academy and also the other team. Let's have a look at how these officials at the club were faring after that particular game. So these were the officials at the hospital currently being attended to because of what happened. Stones were being held at them. They got some injuries, and this was happening in 2025 in the Ghana Premier League and also in the Division 1 League. Next month will be exactly a year that a fan was lost in the Ghana Premier League. Francis Frimpong, popularly known as Pole. For how long will this continue in our league, and how will it affect our league? Do we expect that corporate society will come to sponsor our league? To have more perspective on this, I've been joined on Zoom by Dr. Frank Apia Kusi, who's a sports researcher and also a lecturer and also a marketer. Doc, if you can hear me, welcome to Sports World.
Hello, James. Good evening.
Happy New Year
for having me.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy returns.
Yeah,
many happy returns.
Great to have you on the show. I'm sure you were on the line when we were sharing these videos that happened over the weekend across some centers in the Ghana Premier League and also the Division 1 League. First of all, let me have your general assessment about what you just saw.
Right. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and kudos to you and your team for the work you are doing. Let's give a brief background to what sport actually means. You see, the sports or the football that we see is used to promote human rights. it's used to promote inclusivity. Sport is used to counter violence, violence in whatever form it may be, whether gender-based violence, whether war, or whatever it may be. That is the purpose. Sport is used to promote youth participation, and currently there's an ongoing promotion way from FIFA, CAF, and even the IOC about safeguarding.
Yes.
Which are very important key concepts within our sport. And so if you look at the video you played in the first instance where you see a coach, and I was quite surprised when you gave a brief background of this coach.
Yeah.
Having had so much exposure, you know, over the across borders, and the experience that he may have, and what is happening is unacceptable. Now, if you look at the video critically, it is an abuse of human rights.
Yeah.
This child could be seen as a minor, and so it is kind of a violence demonstration against minor in football, which is unacceptable within the framework of safeguarding. Now, when you put all this together, we are also promoting girls' participation in sports.
Yeah.
So obviously, women are watching. So when this happens, in their mind or psychologically, they begin to see that, okay, if men are even brutalized in this manner, where lies the women who, quote unquote, may be seen as having less strength? And so it is unacceptable to see, you know, demonstration of violence, abuse of human rights, you know, trying to abuse minor whom the sport is for within such a professional event like Ghana Premier League. So it is highly unacceptable. Looking at the profile you gave, I think the coach should retire immediately as a way of responsibility. And you know, if the club keeps quiet, this is not good for the corporate world, and this is where the conversation comes in.
Yeah. So for the information of our audience, today the coach himself issued an apology, first of all to the fans of the club and also to the football fraternity. Then Accra Suffolk also came out to say they are against violent acts. That's what they released, but I think the assistant coach is still in post. He has released an apology letter for that matter. The FA has also issued a fine on him.
Well, these are good sanctions, these are good measures, but it doesn't augment
definitely
for the larger population.
Yeah.
And so the club should, you know, take a bolder step to retire this coach, because psychologically it may have some indentation, you know, among people that are around the club, and to a larger population, the club. You see, it doesn't add up well for the corporate world. Why?
Yeah.
Because the corporate world seem to promote human rights. They are there to, you know, inspire the youth, motivate them. These are key values within our sport and also within the corporate world. This is where the alignment comes in from the last time we had a conversation.
Yeah.
This is where the alignment comes in. There has to be an alignment of values between what we do as a sport entity and the corporate world. And so when a party begins to exhibit these characters, these features that seem to misalign with what the corporate body stands for, then obviously what we are seeing in our league will continue to exist. The lack of sponsorship, poor fan attendance and what have you. It will continue to exist. This shouldn't happen. We are in an age where we should go beyond this.
Yeah.
But then again, it goes a long way to talk about the indiscipline and of conducting the Ghana Premier League. You indicated it's not too long ago we saw Pole incidents. May his soul rest well, and my condolences to the family. A similar thing is happening. Look at the video. Even when security are trying to calm him down, look at the gravity, look at the strength. It's like he's a Brock Lesnar. It's like he's a Braun Strowman.
Yeah, and even it wasn't even just happening on the touchline. If you look at the video, even on the field of play, some of the players were also involved in that kind of tussle, even on the field of play. And I think that going forward, what are some of the measures we can put in place? Because from all the videos we watch, not only officials, but players themselves, and also even supporters in that game between True Democracy and Positive, it's where the supporters that started this particular violent activities. What can we do?
Right. It's sad we are seeing this occurring on a regular basis. It is an indication that the FA, who owns the league, are not doing enough. The sanctions may not be binding, even though we hear that they have been fined, they have been suspended and all that. It goes a long way to say that these measures are not deepened, they are not too tight, they are not compelling enough. So it lies on the FA to really strengthen disciplinary measures and the code of conduct in the Ghana Premier League.
All right.
If you look at the Saudi Pro League, it's a strong one with fantastic code of conduct. It's not out of place if we have to go and learn best practices from somewhere. So the Ghana Premier League and the owners of it, which are the Ghana Football Association, should honestly beef up and set up and be able to, project this product to the global audience and particularly to the Ghanaian market, to be able to attract the investment and the sponsor they are looking for. But as it stands, what we are seeing and the frequency at which it occurs is unacceptable. It's a gross disrespect to the corporate entity, to the stakeholders, and to the global world. It can't continue like this. Yes, there could be misunderstanding here and there, but there should be some disciplinary and guidelines, for the Ghana Premier League. But what we are seeing, it's no good for marketing.
All right, Doc, thank you so much. But before you go, finally, if you are, let's say, the manager for any of these corporate societies, you see this very act, what goes into your mind? And if clubs come to you, the FA comes to you, that they want sponsorship, what advice will you give them?
Interesting one, James. And thank you. I wouldn't be surprised going forward to see or read about some press releases from these sponsors.
Hello, Doc, can you hear me?
Of these various clubs, particularly the House of. I wouldn't be surprised going forward to see some of these things coming up. But if I were to be leadership of these clubs, engaging the leadership of these clubs to strengthen on corporate values and
hello, Doc.
corporate philosophy and how they miss out with the football setting. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Since we're losing you, if you can reiterate your point again.
So Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Doc. Kindly continue.
Right. Okay, so I was saying that if I were to be in such a position within the corporate world,
Yeah.
the marketing department of these corporate entities would immediately have a meeting with these clubs,
Right.
the management of these clubs, to emphasize on corporate values and how misconduct on the other part reflects to the corporate world and how it tarnishes our image on the global market. Again, it's important that these corporate entities would enforce the clubs to engage the supporters union or the fan base of their clubs. It appears many of the clubs lack education on violence.
Yeah.
We seem not to understand what their actions and inactions may have on the league and on the partners that are within the league. So these things should go on. It's very important. The corporate entity should also engage the Ghana Football Association, letting them understand how the impact and activities or misconduct and behaviors going on within the league day in, day out on matches, how it misalign with their corporate values, which is not good for their services and product visibility. This is the way forward.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us on Sports World. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective with us. I hope that these clubs will be taking some lessons, will be taking some nuggets from what you just shared, and also the FA will bring more strict measures, more strict punishments to ensure that these kind of violence activities at our various venues will be reduced and also drastically come down. Thank you so much for joining us. So that was Dr. Frank Apia Kusi, who is a sports lecturer and also sports researcher and also a marketer, in there giving his perspective about how violence can be reduced when it comes to the Ghana Premier League. And that'll be all for Ghana Focus. But before we move on to the next segment of the show, Club Beer has a great information for you, and he says that if you want a very crisp, a very refreshing beer, your favorite Club Beer is here, and he's been bringing Charlies together since 1931. Whatever the link up, enjoy Club Beer Mini for just 10 Ghana cedis and Club Beer Large for 15 Ghana cedis only. Enjoy with your Charlies in your favorite moments and more. Club Beer, crisp and refreshing, perfect for sharing with Charlies and pairing with everything that you love. Indeed, Club Be the link up. We go for a breather. When we come back, we'll bring you some updates of some games that is currently happening across Europe. Remember, there is a Spanish Super Cup and also some games being played in the English Premier League, and then we'll bring you Betway Oddball. Stay tuned.
Be the beer, you go like them. Man, I'm buying club, okay, for that man. Hey, oh, it's on me. Hey.
Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons below 18 years, not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Winning, easy. You know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Sports World on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohenba McKeown. Gone by, we have some interesting conversation on Ghana Focus. For now, there are some interesting games going on across Europe, and we are bringing you up to speed with everything that's currently happening. In the Spanish Super Cup, FC Barcelona are up by 5-0 against Atletico Club de Bilbao. 5-0, 4 goals scored in the first half. They just added one. Ferran Torres scored in the 22nd minute. Fermin Lopez scored in the 30th minute. Rooney Bargi scored in the 34th minute. Then Rafinha added the 2 goals to it. So currently, they've played 55 minutes of action. Barcelona leading by 5-0. Remember, tomorrow, Real Madrid will play against Atletico Madrid in that game. We see how that particular one goes. But let's head to the English Premier League, where currently there are some interesting games that are going on. AFC Bournemouth are beating Tottenham Hotspur by 2-1. Matthias Tel scored first for Tottenham Hotspur. Then Ivan Olsen equalized in the 22nd minute. Then Krupi Jr. scored in the 36th minute. It's likely that Antoine Semenyo will be playing his last game for AFC Bournemouth tonight as he head to Manchester City. In other games, Brentford are currently beating Sunderland by 1-0. Igor Thiago has scored in that particular game. Crystal Palace are currently drawing against Aston Villa 0-0. Everton are up by a goal against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Kane scoring in that particular one. Fulham and Chelsea are currently playing a goalless draw at Craven Cottage 0-0. Whilst Manchester City have scored a goal. Erling Haaland has scored a goal against Brighton and Hove Albion. They are currently leading by a goal to 45 minutes of action played for so far. When you head to the Italian Serie A, Lazio are drawing 0-0 with Fiorentina. Parma are still in a goalless draw with Inter Milan, whilst Torino are also in a goalless draw with Udinese. They've played about 28 minutes so far in those games in Serie A. I still have here with me Eugene Ofori, Sottie. Sottie, big games going on tonight.
Yeah. The surprising one for me is Spurs took the lead through Matistel, and now Bournemouth have overtaken them and staged a comeback already at 2-1. Also, Barcelona running riots against Athletic Club, 5-0 already, and it's not looking good. If care is not taken, more goals will be added, and I'm sure we would spell Athletic Bilbao if things don't continue to go the way they are. So a lot of interesting games. Chelsea as well have got a red card. Marc Cucurella has been red carded, and so they'll play the remaining minutes of the game with 10 men. And that's interesting. Chelsea have had a lot of red cards this season, and so I think we need to have a conversation about what is really happening to Chelsea. Cucurella was the last man, and he seemed to have brought down Harry Wilson just before the box, and so he has been red carded as well. So Chelsea will be under pressure as well. Liam Rosenthal, the new head coach, also around watching the game from the VIP section of the stand. So a lot of tasty fixtures to look forward to. I'm sure as an Arsenal fan, you're not happy that City have taken the lead against
At least they
Brighton.
should draw or they should lose. Brighton, you can do it. You have the can-do spirit. Come on, you guys can do it. But just now, other games just started. Burnley and Manchester United is currently on kickoff. Is the post-Amorim era. Darren Fletcher is in the dugout, hoping that at least they can beat Burnley at Turf Moor. In other games, Newcastle United are playing against Leeds United. They just started the game, and based on that, we head straight away to Betway Oddboard, where we bring you some games and also just predict so that you can make some money on Betway. Sottie, take us away on those games.
Well, so for Betway Oddboard, we are predicting a few games. FC20 are taking on PEC Zwolle. We are predicting an FC20 straight win. Maccabi Tel Aviv of Israel will be taking on Bnei Shaknin, and we are predicting a Maccabi Tel Aviv straight win. Charter Athletic will be taking on Chelsea. We predict Chelsea straight win. Burnley will be taking on Millwall. We're predicting Burnley win or draw. Portsmouth take on Arsenal. We're predicting an Arsenal win or draw. And Macclesfield take on Crystal Palace. We're predicting a Crystal Palace win or draw. And so the code is BW3037D890. BW3037DE90. FC20 straight win, Maccabi Tel Aviv straight win, Chelsea straight win, Burnley win or draw, Arsenal straight win, Crystal Palace straight win. I repeat the code again, BW3037DE90. One more time, BW3037DE90.
Interesting games we have there for you. This particular weekend. Remember, this show is powered by Betway. As we always say, you just share your code with your friends, fans, and followers. If they use your code, doesn't matter whether they win or they lose that particular games, or using the code, you earn 4% of their wager. Betway says get away. Remember, this show is also powered by Club Beer. It says that be with your Charlies. All you need to do is to buy a beer for 10 cedis and also 15 cedis, and also enjoy with your boys. Sottie, do you have any messages so far?
Well, someone says he wants to see the EPL table. Let's see. I'm sure that I don't know if that fan is an Arsenal fan, because if he wants to see the Premier League table, then I'm sure
I can quickly go through there.
He would want to.
I'll gladly do that. So
that is not difficult. I can even get that for him as well. And I know very soon that story will change.
When you started saying this thing, it was just a point. It was now it's about 5 points.
The hate to tweet you are answering the question. I know
so the gap keeps widening. It keeps widening.
Arsenal lead the table with 48.
Can you repeat that one again?
Arsenal leads the table with 48
Repeat
points.
it for me again.
Man City are second with 45 points. Aston Villa are third with 43 points. Liverpool are fourth with 34 points. Brentford fifth with 33 points. Chelsea sixth with 32 points. Manchester United are seventh with 32 points. Everton are eighth with 31 points. Newcastle ninth with 30 points. Sunderland also on 10th position with 30 points. And then Fulham 11th with 29 points. Brighton and Hove Albion 12th with 28 points. Crystal Palace also 28 points at 13th position. Tottenham Hotspur 27 points, 14th position. And then for the relegation zone, Wolves, Burnley, West Ham, with Nottingham Forest just above the relegation zone, and then Leeds United in 16th slot. And Tanzanians, Bournemouth, who are currently winning against Tottenham Hotspur, are currently 15th, just one place beneath Tottenham Hotspur. So that's the table. Top four: Arsenal, City, Aston Villa, Liverpool.
A news coming in says that Fulham are up by a goal against Chelsea. Harry Wilson scoring in the 45th minute to give Fulham the win over their noisy neighbours. So it's currently 1-0 to Fulham. Let's see how it goes. McKeown, who is the interim boss, Liam will be learning some 1 or 2 lessons there. I think it's a good game for him to see. So currently that's the update for you. The phone lines are currently open, so you can call in to share your comments about everything that we discussed. Remember, we discussed the AFCON. We did a review of the round of 16 games. The quarter-final games will be starting on Friday, where Nigeria will be playing against Algeria. Host nation will also be in contention there. Which country do you think will qualify to the semi-final and also ultimately go to the final to win the AFCON 2025. So the phone lines are open. You can also still bring in your messages. I have a message here I would like to read before we receive any phone calls. This one is coming from our usual friend, Felix Wafo.
Oh, sure.
Shouts to Felix. He's always doing the watching. Bro, I owe you something, eh? I owe you something. Thanks for always doing the watching and also keeping back for us. But apart from that, there are some games that will be played tomorrow also across Europe. We have some English Premier League games. And also remember, I did mention that for the Spanish Super Cup, Real Madrid will play against Atletico de Madrid, rivals in there. But in the Serie A, Cremonese will play against Cagliari. Paris Saint-Germain in the French Super Cup tomorrow will play against Olympique Marseille. AC Milan will play against Genoa. Arsenal, the Gunners, will play against Liverpool. That is a cracker. Arsenal versus Liverpool tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see what happens in that game.
What happened? What do you think?
No. I will just laugh.
No, I want you to give the analysis. No, put on your analysis lens.
I just think it will be a game where it will be a free scoring game. There will be a lot of goals in that game. I think that's all I can say.
Can you predict?
I think
scoreline.
We are playing at the Emirates or Anfield.
Yeah, at the Emirates.
2-2.
2-2?
Yeah.
2-2. All right. So I think I'll also go with that. A draw in that particular game will do. So let's see how it goes. It goes in there. Yeah. I think I like the scoreline 2-2. Let's see if Liverpool can surprise. But in their last 5 games, wow, interesting. In their last 5 games, Arsenal have only won 1. Arsenal have only won 1 in the last 5 games between Arsenal and Liverpool. That was in 2024. Arsenal beat Liverpool by 3 goals to 1. But since then, they've lost 2-1. They've drew 2-2 twice, and also Liverpool beat Arsenal. Remember, this season, the first game that was played at Anfield, that free kick by Szoboszlai ensured that Arsenal lost all the 3 points. So let's see how it goes tomorrow in there. If you are not receiving any calls, and that's how we wrap up the show this evening on ABC News Ghana. The show has been Sports World with me, James McKeown. You heard from Eugene Ofori, Sottie. You also heard from Chris Katos, heard from Ben Rikoso. We also spoke to Lawrence Nkede, and also spoke to Dr. Frank Kusi-Apia on Ghana, of course. Thank you going out to the technical guys for being with us, for helping with production. As we usually do it, I'll mention your names to Finger, to Romeo, to Sensational Sammy the Slagger, to Sly Heredity on the line, to Prince, to Mr. Moffat, and to everybody, to Frank, to Gordon, to everyone who helped with the production. You say we are grateful. It's 2026. We have a lot of shows upcoming for you. Stay tuned to ABC News Ghana. Remember, on Friday, we'll bring you the build-up. We'll build up to the weekend. We'll do a preview of the AFCON games, semi-final games that will be coming up, and also some interesting games in the English Premier League. So stay tuned to ABC News as we bring you the build-up on ABC News Ghana. My name is James Ohenba McKeown. I did this with Eugene Ofori, Sottie. Enjoy your night.